I got some interesting news for you guys. If you're a Bionano Genomics investor and you've been watching my channel for a little while, I've been sending a few emails around just to get a gist of what it's like. So I've been emailing a professor over in Canada, and I was asking him about, the Stratus. I was asking about the University Health Network in 2024 and what the volume of usage will look like for optical genome mapping. If they're going to upgrade any of their Sapphire systems because they have two already, if they're going to upgrade one of them into the Stratus, or if they're going to buy a Stratus. I don't know if he's working on any other applications for optical genome mapping. And I asked him, I said to him, I'm trying to weigh up whether optical genome mapping will hit a major adoption point by cytogenetic labs in the near future. So it's exciting to see progress and interests. I recently watched his community interest meeting on YouTube, and I asked him, is the interest growing for optical genome mapping for what you can see with the attendance of your meeting? And are there any interests internationally? So I was emailing because I wanted to find out if there's going to be any change in adoption, because currently we're only seeing, a few Sapphire systems. Maybe people are waiting for the Stratus to come out, but only a few Sapphire systems every quarter are being, adopted and installed. There was an end of year sell-off with a lot of stocks, and Bionano Genomics had that end of year sell-off as well, gaining momentum before that happened, as it went from $1.25, I believe, like a few months ago, all the way up to over the $2 range, $2.26, 27. Don't be fooled by the numbers. In the past year, it's still down 86%, and I think I'm down round about that amount. I think it's something like 86 or 84% I'm down now, and this is on a big amount of money. This is on what I consider a big amount of money. It was like life savings that I made from oil money. I'm a bit curious to see what adoption is going to be like. Will Bionano Genomics survive? Are we going to be heavily diluted? And when I spoke to this professor, some interesting updates on his career path and where he's moving next. But before we get into this video, please hit the like button. It helps so much. Please drop me some comments down below. Let me know your thoughts and feelings. If you still hold shares in Bionano Genomics, what is your outlook for Bionano Genomics in the next 2 years, specifically this year, 2024? Please remember, it's not financial advice, for entertainment only, and I hope you enjoy this video. So I emailed Dr. Adam Smith on the 31st of December. How rude of me during the holiday periods, but I was too excited. I wanted to find out some more information, and he kindly got back to me on the 1st of January. How kind of him. He said to me, "Hi Miguel, Happy New Year." He actually left the University Health Network in Canada in October. So he was looking at several opportunities in the USA in 2024, and he's hoping to promote optical genome mapping adoption wherever he lands. He thinks we will see a CPT code for optical genome mapping in US this year, as several large labs, are gearing up to do optical genome mapping in large scale. Ooh, interesting. I think 2024 will be a breakout year for optical genome mapping. When he was over at the University Health Network, it was a cancer-only lab, so the applications were limited. Depending on where he ends up, it's possible he will be involved in many new OGM applications, and he's not sure if the University Health Network will move to Stratus this year or not. They have lots of capacity to grow with 2 Sapphires, but possibly by the end of 2024, they will look at trading up one of the Sapphire systems to get that Stratus. So most of Canada is currently moving towards the clinical implementation, with some labs like Hamilton and Vancouver General with Stratus installed already. Interesting. About Stratus, it's meant to be the new Sapphire system, which is like a high throughput version of it. Adam has said he's also had some growing interest for consulting work for labs starting with optical genome mapping. So it looks like a lot of labs are hoping to bring on optical genome mapping in the very near future. I find it really interesting. This guy just got I think it's over $1 million or $2 million grant between him and his colleagues for him to utilize the Sapphire system over in Canada and explore multiple myeloma. So there's $2 million worth, and he just got this grant for UHN, him and his colleagues, to explore it. So he wanted to use optical genome mapping to improve diagnostic testing over there. But he may have seen a greater opportunity in USA, so that's probably why he's deciding to, adventure into the US of A and promote optical genome mapping over there. The Health Network had the limited applications. He said it's a cancer-only lab, but he thinks that there's going to be a lot of other labs that are gearing up to scale. For what comorbidities? I think it's usually, blood cancer is the focus at the moment, but there are also lots of studies going on using optical genome mapping. I think there was one for Alzheimer's or dementia, which would be really good. if they could utilize optical genome mapping or create a tool for screening it. And he thinks the inflection point's already here. He thinks that 2024 will be the breakout year for optical genome mapping. And this is a person who runs, a community interest meeting with people attending and joining from, across the world. This guy flies across the world. He was in Turkey at one point as well, speaking about optical genome mapping over there. So he does conferences, and he said that there's a growing interest. The next questions that I asked him was regarding, optical genome mapping and large scale. What does he consider to be large scale? Because are we talking about thousands of, genomes being processed? Are we talking about 5,000 genomes? And I want to try and calculate it depending on where those are being processed. If it's in USA, is it the same amount that he was getting charged for a genome? So he was currently on $400 per genome. And in the next few years, he was expecting for them to run 2,000 to 2,500 genomes. If the cost was to stay at $400 per genome, we're talking about $800,000 per year coming out of the free hospitals he was at. The University Health Network was comprising of free hospitals. But if it was 2,500 genomes, it would be $1 million just for those free labs. One client, that's pretty good. But what if it scales up? What if large scale means to him even more than that? So in the USA, if they were running, 2,000, 2,500 genomes per year, hopefully in the next few years in Canada, those free sites, if Bionano Genomics targets the high throughput, large scale sites where they'll be utilizing it for blood cancers, so the recent prenatal article, if they start to utilize optical genome mapping for prenatal analysis, for example, the recent study was on, I think, 200 samples, and this was carried out in China. And they said that what the researchers shown is that optical genome mapping can be used and has the potential to be used as a first-tier cytogenetic method for prenatal analysis due to its ability to identify the majority of pathogenic structural variants in a single test. If applications continue to grow and if they can get the right throughput at the right pricing for customers, and these are like high throughput, customers who be utilizing the Sapphire system or the Stratus a lot, then can Bionano Genomics actually fulfill its potential? That is the question, and some of the clinicians, some of the professors are expecting a lot out of optical genome mapping and what it can do for genomics. But as a business, can Bionano Genomics make optical genome mapping profitable? Can they make sure that they run a profitable business? Will they be able to scale up while cutting costs down? Will they be able to return money to shareholders? These are the questions that we want to know. Step by step, we're trying to figure out where we fit in all of this in terms of how will we get a return on our investment. That professor done the study on herself. I think it was Professor Temple, and she has autism, or she was able to finally get a diagnosis or to utilize a Sapphire system for it. That is when we saw the start of this crazy run, and it flew off Bionano Genomics. It was something crazy. It went from like 50 cents to $15.69. Because of the reverse split, we are now around about 19 cents. That's considerably lost so much value. They've raised a lot of money, they've burnt through it in acquisitions, and now are they able to sustain and survive and turn this into the full potential that it could be? Technology looks fantastic. People around the world, professors are raving about the Sapphire system and the Stratus and optical genome mapping as a genomic tool. So I'm continuing to be hopeful for 2024, but management does not have my confidence yet. I have not bought any more shares in it. I had 54,000 shares before, and at this moment of time, because of the reverse split, I have 5,400. I'm not going to increase my position. I'm not going to average down at this moment of time until I can see that it's starting to get a bit more healthy in terms of the cash burn rate and increase in revenues, increase in margins as well. And I want to see the CEO take a pay cut. I want to see him reduce compensation for himself, take a pay cut, invest his own money into the business, and run a tight ship. I want to see him run a tight ship while growing, which sounds crazy because you need to spend money while you're growing. But I think that he's made a few wrong decisions. And I feel as though even the reverse split, the timing of the reverse split, he thought that it would be able to bring more institutions to Bionano Genomics to get them to invest if it was at like a $5. But you can see considerably his plan has failed. He's scrambling for money. He's been using the ATM, and he's also issued these senior notes for some cash. But for us as investors, there's no confidence. I don't know if you guys believe in him, but for me, I don't have any confidence in his plan. I love the technology, but he needs to really prove himself and make the right decisions, cut down a lot, and focus on partnerships and getting the Sapphire system into the right places. Hey, Happy New Year. Thank you very much for watching the channel. I really appreciate you guys and all the support you've given me over these years. I'll continue to cover Bionano Genomics and a lot of other companies we've covered previously. Just let me know, hit me up in the comments. Please hit the like button, it really helps out. And remember, none of this is financial advice, it's for entertainment only. I'll catch you in the next video. If you find this kind of information useful as well, just let me know. I'd love to keep emailing people around the world. Let me know if there's any professors that are working on applications that are interesting for you for the Sapphire system for optical genome mapping. Drop me an email, send me their email address, and I'll hit them up for you. Wishing you guys the very best. Happy New Year, and I'll catch you in the next video. Mr. Investor Luck, over and out, baby.